I forgot to mention, you guys know this from other David Lynch movies, that David Lynch is weird, but he's beautiful. That scene of Laura Herring at night walking down that, so as she's stumbling after the accident, and she's going down the street, and you see these palm trees, these huge palm trees, and this sort of mist, this fog catching the light of the street lamps. It's like beautiful. You print it out, put it on the wall, just like everything in Persona. It's a very beautiful, beautiful film. Um, okay. And then you get people who are looking for the girl, right? They're trying to, presumably Laura Herring's character. But there's you remember the scene from Sunset Boulevard where they're trying to talk to DeMille, and the guy and Norma Desmond shows up to the studio, and then the guard calls somebody in the studio, and then that guy talks to a guy, and that guy talks to a guy, and that guy talks to a guy, and that guy talks to DeMille. That's how you know DeMille is important. Same thing here. There's these phone calls, and it's like a guy calls a guy, and that guy calls a guy, and that guy calls a guy searching for the girl. Interestingly, you don't get hardly any information, right? What's the situation? The same, right? Like, what is happening in this movie? It's an extremely disorienting start. And the phone calls, there's these creepy details, like the scummy wall and the dirty phone that the guy picks up, but the first guy's calling from like a hotel or something nice. Very disturbing, strange. Then I'm in a totally different movie again, right? Was it a musical? Is it a cop show? Is it right? Is it a musical? Is it a cop show? Is it a monster movie? And then now I'm in this young, beautiful girl has come to Hollywood to be a big, famous star. That's a fourth kind of film. Um, but she arrives, and she, like, she's so happy. She's just like she's happy and pure. She's so excited, and she's like, oh, what an amazing place this is. And like Kyle MacLachlan in Blue Velvet, she seems like she's from a kid's book from the 1950s. She's just so happy to be here, but she seems sort of dopey. And in fact, there's a funny moment right when she arrives where it's like she's this wide-eyed innocent girl in the big city for the first time, and like, by the way, and like her luggage maybe got stolen. She's like, my bags. But then it's not a bad world. It's a nice world because the guy was just putting them in the taxi for her. And he says, where to, ma'am? So like they give you this little fake scare where they're like, oh no, this sweet girl got robbed as soon as she arrived. But no, everything's nice. Everything's fine. Very different from the monster movie I thought I was in a minute ago, or the cop movie and these creepy guys that are looking for this woman. Um, cool. Okay. Um, she's very she feels very old. She just feels like she's from an older movie. And now that you guys have seen some older movies, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? But she's like, all right, Irene. Like she's just like Jeff in Blue Velvet. But she's just a sort of wide-eyed, innocent character. Because she's the small town girl come to Hollywood to make it big. That's a type of movie. Um, all right, cool. Um, But then David Lynch loves his weird details. We see the old people in the car and they're smiling, but like in a crazy way. And then they're just like, and I tap and she hits him on the leg like she's happy. And we move to something else. It is a radically disorienting film. Um, because it won't settle down. It's a little bit like 2001 in that, we get the monkeys, and then suddenly that's over. Here's new people, and then we get Haywood Floyd on the moon and his whole story, and then boom, he's gone, and we're in Jupiter 18 months later with new people. And then boom, Dave Bowman goes out into the infinity and beyond, and it's like four different movies. That's happening here, but at a much faster pace, so that like I can't. He keeps introducing new characters, but also new genres, and like I need to know what kind of movie this is. If it's a vampire movie, you have a vampire in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then like, oh, it's a vampire movie. But like they're not telling me yet what to expect, and it's frustrating. But it's interesting. It can be an interesting experience if you're here for it. Okay. Notice, by the way, that Betty's apartment complex, which is this big old apartment complex covered in vines, looks a lot like Norma Desmond's house, creating a first link between Norma Desmond and Betty. And there are some Norma Desmond-Betty similarities, although you may not detect them this early in the movie. Um, Notice the woman, the woman who, Coco, who runs the apartment complex. It's worth pointing out that that actress is Ann Miller, and this is one of these things that you can do in advanced film work: is to think about what other movies were these actors in, and why would you want somebody from these other movies to be in your movie. Um, Ann Miller was famous when she was young. And then, like Norma Desmond, Hollywood didn't want an older woman, and then David Lynch found her and put her in Mulholland Drive. So the fact that you've had Sunset Boulevard, we saw the sign, the apartment complex looks like Sunset Boulevard, but that woman, she was very famous when she was younger, and she did not have a lot of work between her. She didn't have a lot of big roles between her younger days and Mulholland Drive when she's much older. So again, it's another connection to sort of Sunset Boulevard. So David Lynch, he puts these odd details in the film. For example, when Betty gets, there's disorienting details all through the film. So when Betty gets to the apartment complex, she's happy. It's drenched in sunlight. It's very beautiful. She's excited to be here. And the music that we hear is very happy. But then suddenly it's like, and it gets like sour, like something's wrong. Now, normally, when you see something wrong in a movie, you might have like your main characters are happy, but then there's a creepy guy in the background and the music goes, and then right? The characters were happy, but then there's a creepy guy following them and the music gets sour. Here, the music gets sour for no reason I can see. Something is wrong. It lets the audience know something's wrong. But nothing on screen seems wrong. There's no creepy guy following her. She didn't just find out she has cancer. I don't understand, why did the music get sour there? Um, Again, very disorienting. There's another similar kind of thing where when we explore the new apartment, this should be a happy time. Oh, this is this beautiful apartment she's going to stay in. But the camera work suggests a serial killer. It's like the camera is like floating down the hallway. It's silent. And the camera's like going down these dark hallways. And when you have a camera moving down a dark hallway in silence, I expect to turn the corner and there's those two creepy girls from The Shining. There's nothing like that here, but it makes you, there's no uncanny. It's like a weird feeling that something's going to go wrong, even though nothing on screen indicates anything's wrong. It's very unusual to have that kind of camera work. Normally, if you're going to have creepy camera work, I expect creepy content. If you're going to have sour music, I expect sour content. But here, we're getting creepy camera work and sour music without anything on screen to match. And it is an extremely disorienting thing in a movie where I'm already disoriented because I can't figure out what fucking genre this is. Um, okay, Betty expresses herself. Oh my! Oh, she opens the door. Oh my! Like someone's naked girl in the shower. She talks like in that kind of goofy, old-fashioned 1950s movie kind of way, like Jeffrey Beaumont being like, "You're neat, golly, um, you're a neat girl," he says. Okay, and then Rita, right, has amnesia, and she has amnesia, but she takes her name from Gilda. And I'll talk more about why she does that and why that's important and interesting later. But it's yeah, okay, we'll come back to that. But Betty's just like, I'm in this dream place. We know David Lynch loves dreamy kind of imagery, so that seems kind of important. Um, okay, cool. Then we're in a totally different movie again. Oh my god, it switched again. New characters. So many people in this fucking thing. That we meet this director who's meeting about his movies, and these guys, these bully guys, show up to pressure him into putting someone in the movie. Now, if you didn't catch it, it's important that Dan Hedaya, who plays the more talkative of the two gangsters, he says at one point, "It is no longer your film." And I forgot, I'm blanking on their name right, the Castiglione brothers, but they have an Italian name, and Dan Hedaya says, "It is no longer your film." He's doing a Marlon Brando impression, like from The Godfather, which is about Italian mafia family. Um, this is a whole other movie. Now it's a mafia movie. This is about the mafia pressuring this guy to put someone they've picked in the movie. So I just to do a quick rundown of where we've gotten to in the first half hour of the movie or whatever, is it's a musical. Oh, it's a Law and Order cop investigation of a missing girl. It's a monster movie. It's a Star is Born, young girl comes to Hollywood to become famous story, or it's a mafia movie. These are five extremely different kinds of movies, and it's extremely disorienting. It takes a little bit of patience to get through, or you will become frustrated because it's not giving you what you expect. I'll see you in the next video.